Hey, what's happening? Hey, this is Oz on Smash Bros. Radio, the only digital black-owned radio station where in Birmingham, Jefferson County. We don't mention Alabama because sometimes we kind of get upset with Alabama, but we are one of the first black-owned digital radio stations in Birmingham. One of the first digital. Digital sets us apart from everybody else. Why? We do that. That's what we do. We do that. Hey, appreciate you for stopping in with me. Appreciate you allowing me into wherever you are. We're Smash Bros. Radio. We are here to provide a platform, to provide a venue for all independent artists, and also to provide a platform to all organizations, all politicians. We are here to set things straight, to start things out, to get things going. We're here. Hey, you can find Smash Bros. Radio. You can find us on Facebook as well as Instagram as well as YouTube. We're there. Also, I'm Oz. You can find me on all social platforms. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, as well as TikTok. O, capital Z, small case Z. Oz. Smash Bros. Radio. Good morning to you. It's Wednesday. It's Hump Day, the 1st of March. Lord have mercy. What happened to January and February? Man. Hey, also, let me stop for a moment and let me do an acknowledgement. Let me do a shout out. Shout out to one of my students, one that I taught over at Huffman High School. That's right. I sure did. I taught her. And now look at her. Let me give a shout out to Mrs. Erica Jones, who is the assistant principal, the AP, the assistant principal of Green Acres Middle School. Get out of here. Assistant Principal Jones. Let me tell you, parents, if you have children over at Green Acre Schools, you have a steward. You have an individual that is going to be there for your students. It's going to be there for your community. It's going to give all of her wisdom, all of her knowledge, all that she has to make sure that your kids are adequately and properly and correctly prepared for the world. Can't get any better. Shout out to Mrs. Erica Jones, new assistant principal over at Green Acres School, Green Acres Middle School. Man. Now see, without getting too emotional, to witness, to have the chance to see a teenager grow into this fantastic, awesome young lady, a mother, a daughter, a wife, to see the growth. And she always had it in her. She always had it in her. She always strived to be the best of whatever. And trust me, she did it. Trust me. Let me everyone, every student, every family, every parent that allowed me to have the opportunity to be just a minute part and to watch those individuals grow into the adults that they are. Can't get any better than that. You can't get any better than that. Everybody's always talking about Ramsey this and Ramsey that and how. Let me tell you. Let me first of all, let me set the record straight. Let me set the record straight. Ramsey, in the bigger picture, ain't all that. Let's just put it out there. They aren't all that, and I'm speaking from experience. I'm not speaking just off the I'm speaking from experience. When I became department head of the social science department over at Huffman High School. During the first 5 years, my classes participated in the mock congressional hearing from the Center for Law and Civic Education. We were the only ones that were representing the 7th Congressional District, Representative Searle's district. The only one. We were the only high school in Birmingham City that competed competitively in the mock congressional hearings. The only one. Couldn't get any other high school to be a participant or want to be a participant. And then to find out that during that time that most of the classes that were given over at Ramsey were not AP classes, nor did they have any teachers that were AP certified to teach some or most of the classes. But yet this is supposed to be the creme de la creme. And they weren't, and they aren't. But see, here in Birmingham, you have these bougie individuals who feel that their children are too good to go to school with my children, with my kids and all. But my kids were the top. And most of the other high schools in Birmingham were better than Ramsey. Because, see, you had this myth, and you fill these kids up with all these big ideas about, yeah, you used to, but you're not, because you didn't compete. So, for everybody wanting to always put Ramsey out there, no, they're not all that. And why would you send your children that's supposed to be better than others, cough, cough, let me gag and throw up? Why would you send them to a facility that is dilapidated and practically that has holes in the roof? Now, see, they don't want to talk about that. So, when you have individuals like Erica who have gone through the system, who was raised and schooled in the system, and now you have her in a position to where she's giving back. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And I think that at the present time, with everything changing and evolving and, going through all these different stages, I think that the principal should be rotated. No principal should have that position over at a school no more than 2 years, because then you get those little pompous ass attitudes that this is my school, this is my chair. And while you're there, it is. But you become ineffective because you don't get to see anything new. So I think, especially in the high schools, the principals should be rotated. Understand what Huffman's all about. You cannot get better, see, and prejudice, of course, you cannot get better than Huffman, because where Huffman is located, for those of you who don't know, Birmingham City is an urban school system, but Huffman High School is out in the suburbs. So even though we're out in the suburbs, we're still an urban school system. So those neighborhoods or those communities that come together to be feeders to Huffman, when I got over there in 97, 98, and I retired in 2013, the parents were parents to all the students in that school. All the students. And during that time, Huffman was the most diversified high school in the system. The most diversified high school, and had the most graduates. We had outstanding teachers. Now, I'm not diminishing any other teacher, because 98% of the teachers in Birmingham City are awesome. You cannot get any better teachers than Birmingham City. And some of the issues and some of the problems that we are affecting in Birmingham has nothing related to the teachers. It's for the people that's up above, the administrators, the board, the administration. Because you have teachers who have always and will always be there when it comes to the students. Always. So, congratulations to Mrs. Erica Jones. Congratulations to the students of Green Acres Middle School. You have an advocate. You have a steward that is going to be there for you always and will always support you when and if you ever need the support. You got it. So shout out to Mrs. Erica Jones. Yay! Congratulations. Proud of you. 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 Now, we have so much going on. So much going on. So much going on. Here in Birmingham, I don't know if you can call it an elephant in the room or what, but there's an issue with Birmingham Southern College, which is a private college. I think it was under the umbrella of the United Methodist Church. I think that's correct. But because of foolishness, because of irresponsibility, because of not being fiscal responsible and being negligent in their dealings with their funds, you have a private college that is about to close. And now all of a sudden, the white folks want to come to the black folks asking for assistance, which is typically white when it comes to white folks, or better yet, when it comes to the mutants. See, while the mutants aren't having any problems and all, they could care less about the black community. But once the mutant starts having trouble and they actually see what the black community can provide, then all of a sudden they want assistance, they want help. And see, this is exactly what has happened to Birmingham Southern. Because of being foolishly and because of not being responsible, being negligent in their duties, the president as well as the trustees, because the president cannot do anything without the approval of the trustees. So you have the trustees and the president who were negligent in their duties, and they should be fired. And they should be replaced. And if Birmingham Southern cannot raise the money that they need to stay afloat, well, then they need to close. Now you have all of a sudden you have these mutants who have gone to certain black leaders, certain black legislatures, certain black politicians. Now all of a sudden you have these black politicians and leaders all of a sudden coming to the community seeking advice and all. You shouldn't be coming and seeking advice. It should already be no. Hell no, let the school close. Hell no, let the school close. Now you have Congressman or Representative Sewell's saying that she's already had two colleges to close. You cannot compare those two colleges to Birmingham Southern. You cannot even compare. That's apples and oranges. The one that was located in Selma, you can't compare. It is not of the same caliber as Birmingham Southern. Now the other school, I think it's Judson. It was at one time a female college. You can't even compare it to Birmingham Southern. It lost its glimmer or its status or its caliber a long time ago. So for these black politicians to all of a sudden want to come to the community to ask, no. Jefferson County Commission should stay out of it. The legislators down in Montgomery should stay out of it. Birmingham should stay out of it. Let the alumni. And also, I don't mean to be messy or petty. I'm lying, I do. When Miles College was in the same or in a similar situation, no one came to help Miles College. And Miles College was about to close. But I didn't see no uproar. I didn't see no fanfare. I didn't see no parade. I did not see no red flags about, Miles is closing. Y'all were quiet about that. But now you have this mutant school who has done nothing for the community, who has not provided anything, no assistance, nothing to the black community. Now, all of a sudden, you want to stand up and say, we can't let this school close. Forget that. Close it. Close it. It was negligence. And plus, it's a private school. Miles is a private school. But because of Miles having the diligence, because having the strength and the courage and the character, it is on solid foundation now. So the same thing with Birmingham Southern. If Birmingham Southern cannot raise the money that it needs to stay afloat, then close it. That money that Jefferson County Commission was thinking about giving to Birmingham Southern, you can use that same money to help when it comes to the water and the sewer bills. You don't need to throw it away on those schools that because of negligence, because of irresponsibility, and because of being pompous and arrogant, being a peacock, they don't need the money. Adderholt, the Republican congressman up in Washington, let him get the other alumni. Where's the Alumni Association? They have contacts. They have connections. And the same, and Adderholt is an example of what the graduates or the alumni of Birmingham Southern are. The pompous ass mutants. Adderholt has never held a job. Never held a job. Unless you want to count the time, the tenure that he has in Congress. That is the only job that Adderholt has ever had, is being a congressman. The only job that he's ever had. His granddad was a judge. His dad, his mom used to own a restaurant. One of the prominent families up in Winfield, Marion County. Everybody knew the judge. Everybody in Alabama, if you were somebody, cough, cough, let me gag and throw up, know about the Adderholts. So see, that's the caliber of alumni that you have coming from Birmingham Southern. Let them use their money. Not the black folks' money. Let the mutants handle the mutants. Now, if there was a history between or among Birmingham Southern and Birmingham City, and Birmingham Southern has always given or has always done whatever for the value of Birmingham, then possibly. But no, let it close. Let it close. Close it down. That property can either be bought by UAB, or can be bought by Alabama State or Alabama A&M, or have Alabama State and Alabama A&M come together and have the annex. Because at one time, there were classes from state that were being offered that were offered over at Miles, because I took some classes at Miles from Alabama State. So that the property won't go up. Won't devalue, because you have schools who want it. At one time, if I remember correctly, Alabama State was supposed to be purchasing the property. I think that's correct. But I'm ashamed of those black individuals who have the audacity to want to support a mutant school that has no relevancy, that has no significance when it comes to Birmingham or when it comes to Jefferson County. And then for those same individuals to claim that they have no value, they have not given anything back. They basically have taken from Jefferson County and Birmingham and haven't given anything back. And really, if you really want to be pompous and trifling about it, are they offering African American studies? And do they have Hold on, let me see. Let me see. Does Birmingham Southern have any black Greek organizations? Fraternity and sorority life. Greek life, Birmingham Southern College Panhellenic. Okay, which one do I want to go to? Birmingham Southern, let's see what this says. Let's see what this says. Let's see that what these says. See, I mean, and see, I'm showing you exactly that if you want any information, there's no reason for you not to have any information, because there are 7 fraternities. You have Alpha. Oh, well, that's not a black. That's Alpha Tau Omega, Kappa Alpha Order, Sigma Alpha, Sigma Chi, Sigma Nu, Theta Chi, Zeta Beta Tau. If this is speaking correctly, they don't even have any black fraternities over at Birmingham Southern, which that can't be right. Okay. Women's Greek life at a glance. Alpha. They don't even have. If I'm looking correctly, Birmingham Southern doesn't even have any black Greek organizations. None. And if I'm wrong, please let me know. Please let me know if that is if what I've said is incorrect. Please let me know, because I will come back on the show and make a correction. Make a correction. I have no problem in that. If I'm wrong, one thing about me, I may be messy and trifling and petty, but I have no problem in coming back on and apologizing for anything that I've said or anything, I make a correction. That's one thing about me. If I'm wrong, if I did it publicly, or even if I did it privately, I will come on the air and make the necessary correctness or make it proper. I have no problem in that. But the bottom line, Birmingham Southern has no right, no reason to even think about coming to Jefferson County or Birmingham or the legislatures down in Montgomery to help them. If the Alumni Association cannot help its school out, well, then it needs to close it. And then again, as I've stated before, for Representative Searles to say that she's had 2 colleges, you cannot compare those 2 colleges to Birmingham Southern, because they are not of the same caliber. They're not the same caliber. And I'm extremely disappointed in those black leaders to come up and have the audacity to try to sway individuals' opinions. No money should come from Jefferson County nor from Birmingham City. No taxpayers' money should bail out Birmingham Southern. None. If it can't get the Alumni Association to come together, if it cannot have the alumni to come together to get them out of trouble, close it. And plus 2, you need to go back and you need to charge, and if possible, bring charges against the president and past presidents and the board of trustees for allowing this frivolous, irresponsible spending to go on. Because they were irresponsible. And if the shoe was on the other foot, if it was a black school, y'all wouldn't do anything. So y'all shouldn't do anything for this mutant school. So no money, no taxpayers' money should go to Birmingham Southern. Close it. Close it down. And let Alabama State, Alabama A&M come in and take over. It can be an annex. Or it can be an outlet or whatever. You can take classes here in Birmingham Now, most of the classes you have to take on campus, but some of the classes you can take over at Birmingham Southern. Alabama State, Alabama A&M, shoot, we'll take it. We'll take it. So, close Birmingham Southern down. Close it down. So that's one of the issues that's prevalent in Birmingham. I was extremely disappointed to find out that the black leaders were trying to rally the troops together to support Birmingham Southern. I do not support Birmingham Southern. Close it. So, from what I understand, Birmingham has a trove of money that is not being utilized efficiently. So, if you had a mayor who was a mayor and not trying to be a celebrity, there's a possibility, and there's still a chance that Mayor Woodfin can get herself together and still have Birmingham become the city that it is. Jefferson County is rich when it comes to resources. Jefferson County as a whole is rich. And I would wager that if you were to compare Jefferson County to the other counties in Alabama, Jefferson County is one of the best counties because of the resources that it has. There are a lot of hidden gems and jewels in Jefferson County. There are a lot of waterfalls and a lot of creeks and rivers. Well, not rivers, creeks, waterfalls that are not even known. And then when you look at Birmingham as a whole, Birmingham is rich, and that's one reason why the mutants have a problem, because they're scared that Birmingham is going to outshine them. But see, the mutants fail to realize, because of their racist behaviors and the racist mentality, that if you would allow Birmingham to be Birmingham and keep their noses out of Birmingham's business, whatever Birmingham enlarges, whatever Birmingham increases, those assets, those attributes are going to be shared to the surrounding cities. Because, see, Birmingham cannot handle the number of individuals that would come in if it was allowed to be Birmingham. And if Birmingham voters, constituents, would stop voting on popularity and start voting on a reputation, start voting on those individuals who have receipts, that have the experience when it comes to handling the veterans, when it comes to the old people, when it comes to education, when it comes to the young people, when it comes to the homelessness. You have individuals here in Birmingham that have the expertise, that have the knowledge, that have the professionalism, that have the connections that are needed and are required to make sure that services are provided properly and correctly and adequately to the veterans, to the elderly, to the younger generations, to education, to social services, to homelessness. Because there's no reason for Birmingham, I think there's 9 or 10 communities. There's no reason for those communities not to have the proper streets, the proper drainage, the proper lighting, the proper community centers, because every community, every neighborhood should have a place to where the younger people can go and enjoy themselves. Every community should have a community center. Every community should have a community center, should have a community swimming pool, should have a community park or parks. And in turn, that will help when it comes to mentally, spiritually, financially, because that's what a community is all about. A community is all about coming together to help the community, to help the neighborhoods. That's what a community center does. That's why it's called a community center. And in that community center, you could have activities that can be provided for the elderly in that community. You could have year-round sports for the younger generations. You can have a place to where people can go and vote instead of being strung out. There's one location that if you're in the community, that there you with the churches and with the community center that you have where people can vote. There's no reason for Birmingham to be in the predicament that it's in. And you have qualified council people that are down there. Now, I do have a problem with what I call the name brands. And the name brands are those individuals who are riding the coattail of their relatives. Their relatives have a stellar reputation when it comes to the community, whereas they have they don't have that type of reputation. They're just there because of the name. And again, people have the tendency here in Birmingham to vote on popularity and not vote on the experience. And you need the experience. Now, if the individual has the name coupled with the experience, then all well and good. But if that individual does not have the receipts to show, or is not known in the community, then no. Birmingham has a chance of making or setting the standards, setting the trend. And as I have always preached, and then I will continue to preach, I will continue to proclaim. Mayor Woodford has the ability and has the chance to create his own count. Because at this point, there are technically two counts, as I call them, here in Birmingham, from past mayors. You have the first count, which I would be prejudiced, of Mayor Arrington and Mayor Langford. You have those two gentlemen who were wise, who were keen and sharp when it comes to allowing Birmingham to grow, pushing Birmingham to the limits. Under Arrington's administration, he was wise enough to annex certain tracts of land that he blocked those mutant communities, those racist communities or municipalities in. And as if you have listened regularly on my program, you know that I called Hoover the plantation. I call Vestavia the bitch or the lady. Depends on how I feel during the time. But mostly it's the lady. You don't hear too much from Vestavia. But see, Vestavia knows how to keep its mouth shut and still be racist. Then you have the twins, which are Mountain Brook and Homewood. And they're somewhat quiet, but we know because of their activities, especially in their police force, we know that you can't trust the twins. So if you ever hear me say the plantation, I'm referring to Hoover, or the lady, or the bitch. I'm referring to Vestavia. Or when I refer to the twins, I'm talking about Mountain Brook and Homewood. So when during Arrington's administration, he bought a number of tracts that blocked those communities in. So see, Vestavia cannot expand out unless it annexes other communities, just like they did when it comes to Cahaba Heights. But as for the original, it cannot expand because it's blocked in. Same way when it comes to Hoover. Hoover is blocked in. I'll give you an example. People want to argue that the summit that we have isn't in Birmingham City, but the summit is part of Birmingham City. Those taxes go to Birmingham City. And if you're from Birmingham or Jefferson County, you know that 280, I think, has 4 to 5 municipalities. I know that it has 2 counties. It has Shelby County as well as Jefferson County. But the summit is part of Birmingham. And that's because of Mayor Arrington buying the tract of land. See, that's why I keep saying that if the black community will quit patronizing Over the Mountain, and if you don't know, Over the Mountain, I'm referring to the lady in the plantation. If the black community would stop patronizing those stores over in the plantation in the Old Lady, you could close those municipalities down in 6 months, and you wouldn't have to picket. You wouldn't have to boycott. You wouldn't have to do anything, because the reason that they are surviving is because of the taxes. The cities live off of the taxes that it generates. Bessemer, no, not it's Bessemer. What was it? Who was a city that gained 1 cent? Had a 1 cent tax. Their sales tax was 9 cents. Now it's 10 cents. I can't think of it right now. It's past Pelham. But see, the sales taxes generates the money, or generates the finances, the revenues that are required to maintain that municipality. So if you were to stop, you wouldn't have to do anything, because if you were to stop spending your money in those stores, then the Chamber of Commerce would in turn contact the city council to let the city council know that something is happening. You need to do something because we're losing revenue. And if the stores are losing revenue, the city is losing revenue, which means that they won't have the needed revenue to finance or to maintain the municipality. Now, under Mayor Langford's administration, I think he did a 1 cent tax that was used to help the schools in Birmingham. And because of that 1 cent sales tax, you had a brand new Winona to be built. You had a brand new Huffman to be built. I think that you had that gym over at Ramsey to be built. So those 2 mayors brought money into Birmingham. Then the other camp, you have Kincaid and you have Bell. Totally 2 different individuals, 2 different camps. You have individuals, Arrington and Langford. Then you have these other individuals, Kincaid and Bell. One from one spectrum to the other. Now, under Kincaid's administration, he was so pompous and arrogant that because of a grant writer making more than he did, allegedly he fired the grant writer. And it was because of the grant writer that was having or was securing enough of money from grants to help Birmingham out. And that may, if Birmingham does not have a grant writer, then they need to provide or hire someone who is well equipped, well knowledgeable in securing grants and writing grants. And that's an open field. That's an open field that no one talks about. If you are a grant writer, if you know how to write the grants, if you know the verbiage, if you know how to use whatever, because in most grants, it tells you what is required. It tells you what it is seeking. And if you are able to interpret what that grant is asking is what is requiring, then you can write a grant with the verbiage, with the vocabulary that is needed to secure that grant. And that's what a grant writer is. A grant writer is worth their salt, is worth their worth, is worth their value, because they know what they're doing. And there are multiple grants out there, but no one knows how to annex them or to secure them because you don't have any individuals that know how to write grants or how to research grants or how to secure grants. So see, you have the camp of Arrington and Langford. You have the camps of Birmingham, of Kincaid and Bell. Bell didn't do anything. Now, I understand, I love Bell. I love Bell. And I have as much respect for Bell and also his wife, Dr. Bell. Dr. Bell was the one, Sandra was very good to me while I was working with the board, was a teacher. Mayor Dr. Bell was an actual doctor. She was an earned doctor. Her degree was earned. She was not giving anything. And that's why some of the people at the board were scared of her, because she was worth her value. So, I mean, no disrespect when it comes to Bell. Now, Kincaid is a different subject matter, but we're not talking about him. I'm not even going to waste my time talking about him. But Bell, I love and have the most respect for, because they were good to me. When it comes, and this has nothing to do with friendship, this has to do with business. So if Mayor Woodford would use his abilities that he has, and he's capable, he's well qualified, if he would get off of his platform of trying to be a celebrity, he could come up, and I've mentioned this several times, under Langford's administration, there were, research that went on, environmental research that went on because of certain things that he wanted to do. One was to have a monorail system from Birmingham to Atlanta. And he had the federal government resources, but it was the other communities that did not help with, because the federal government would give you half and you would have to come up with the other half. But because of the mutants being the mutants, and because of Mayor Langford being, they called him aggressive, but he knew what he knew. They wouldn't give it. So Mayor Woodford has a chance, and then there are investors that want to have a monorail system from not only from Birmingham to Atlanta, but from Birmingham to Texas. So if Woodford would concentrate on the monorail system from Birmingham to Atlanta, do you know how many counties that would be affected with that rail system going through them? Do you not understand the revenue that would be generated because of that monorail system? Do you understand the jobs that will be created because of that monorail system? So you have the eastern counties coming together to have this monorail system, because every command, it not only would it benefit Birmingham City, but that the monorail system would also benefit Jefferson County and those counties in which that monorail system would travel through, would go through. Because there are certain things that you would need to provide for that monorail system. And then coupled if Mayor Langford would get with these investors that would like to have a monorail system from Birmingham to Texas, do you not know the northern counties of Alabama will be affected? Do you not understand how much money that would be generated, how much revenue that would be generated for those northern counties as well as Alabama? And it can be done. See, politicians are similar to teenagers. You feed them, they will come. And then if you have the governor as well as those representatives in Washington to come down and to meet with, you can have a video meeting with the mayor and the representatives up in Washington coming to Montgomery. Or you could have those county commissioners to meet in Montgomery and to provide them with information of how much revenue, prospective revenue that would be generated. So you have that. You have the monorail system that would generate enough of money, not only for Birmingham and Jefferson County, but for those other counties. Then you could have over there at the Sportsplex, they already have, from what I understand, an Olympic pool. And so if you were to use that pool to update that pool or improve that pool so that way it is nationally known, and if it was marketed correctly and adequately, you could have swimming teams and all or any type of water sports to come and use the facilities over at 5 Points West that would generate, enough revenue for Birmingham as well as Jefferson County. So there's two projects right there. One project will benefit the entire state. Another project will benefit Birmingham as well as Jefferson County. And then on top of that, the cherry on top of the cake or whatever, if you were to have a port of Birmingham that would utilize the Tom Bigby waterway, because Mayor Langford had already had studies done. All you have to do is have the Corps of engineers, Army engineers, to come in to dredge the channel, to widen the channel, that it would provide accessibility for those large ships. Can you not imagine the revenue that would be generated from that? That would affect the entire state of Alabama, which means that that revenue that is generated, and it would not be in competition with Mobile because they would work with together. That would generate enough of revenue to where every highway in Alabama would be lit. And that's what we're missing in Alabama. All the highways in Alabama need to be lit. All the interstates, every road in Alabama should be lit. That would generate enough of money so that way kids wouldn't have to pay tuition because it would have enough of money. You would have enough of revenue that can provide the services, social services to the veterans, to the elderly, to the young people, to the homelessness, health, education. So you have 3 projects that can be utilized that would make Alabama self-sufficient. And if you know anything about Alabama itself, you know that Alabama is the only state in the union that if it were to isolate or separate itself, is self-sufficient. Alabama is the only state in the union that have the resources that it can self-sustain itself. It has the land, it has the climate, it has the water. It has everything it needs to be self-sufficient. And if you have individuals that are on board on the same page or the same mindset, there's enough of revenue in that pie that everybody can be happy. There won't be any competition. Now, people are saying that, well, you have too much government. You cannot, in some cases, you might have too much government. But when it comes to regulations, you're going to find out that there are some individuals, some CEOs, some type of corporation and all that are not going to do what what they should do, and they're always going to find some way to make more money greedily. So you're going to need to have some type of regulations on the do's and don'ts, so that way you can keep these professional crooks in line, in order. But if everyone is Alabama pride, has love for their state, then you need to get on the same page and know that this is going to benefit everybody. You want less taxes? Okay, cool. Well, then you have the monorail system. You have the Olympic pool. Then you have the Port of Birmingham that would generate enough of money for everyone in Alabama, every county, every city, anything that's connected to Alabama, you would have the funding, you would have the revenue for. And all you would have to do is get those individuals in Washington to go along with it. And if those representatives in Washington are qualified and know what they're doing, we could have the funding to make sure that these things are happening. Because on a 10-year study, if the monorail system, the Olympic pool, the Port of Birmingham, if it is advertised, if it is marketed adequately, it can generate enough of money that it would pay for itself in 5 years. And a good example of that is, the retirement systems, golf courses. Alabama retirement system has a golf course, and it was marketed correctly and properly and adequately, that everyone all over knows about Thomas. Well, I can't think of the golf courses. But again, if it is marketed correctly, those projects will pay for itself in less than 10 years. It can be. So that's it. Close Birmingham Southern down. Close it down. And hopefully pray for Mayor Woodfin that he gets some type of common sense and stop trying to be a celebrity. Because he in all actuality, Ray Randall, he's a good man. He really is. I talk about him, but I'm the only one that can talk about him because he's my mayor, and nobody else better talk about him. But he just pray for Birmingham. Pray for everybody. Pray for everybody. We need prayer, and understand the power of prayer. Understand about the power of hug. I love hugs. I do hugs well. But I appreciate y'all. I appreciate y'all stopping in. I appreciate you listening to me. Hey, this is OZZz, Smash Bros Radio. One of the first black-owned digital radio stations in Birmingham, Jefferson County. Smash Bros Radio, you can find this on YouTube. You can find this on Facebook. You can find this on Instagram. Also, if you have any promotions, if you have organizations, if you have any events, any promos, whatever, we got you. Here on OZZz, my platform is always open to you. If you have an issue that you wish to talk about, if you have a product that you want to, whatever, my platform is here for you. It is open for you. If you anything, we talk about anything on here. I appreciate you. You can find me on all social medias. You can find me on TikTok. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. I appreciate you. Y'all be careful out there. We're supposed to have some type of stormy weather coming up today, tomorrow, and I think Friday. So I appreciate you. Shout out again to Mrs. Assistant Principal Jones, Green Acres Middle School. Love you, proud of you. Know your value, know your worth. Know that you are the one that controls you. And most importantly, know that I love you more than I love my luggage. I'll see you Friday. Y'all take care. The live stream on the show. On the show. live stream. Fumes, 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 fumes. On the show, on the show, on the show. Fumes, 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 fumes. The live stream. Fumes, 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 fumes. Fumes, on the show. Fumes, fumes, fumes. On the show. Fumes, fumes, fumes. On the show. Fumes, fumes, fumes. On the show, on the show, on the show. Fumes, fumes, fumes. The live stream on the show, on the show.